Freedom's greetings, Helldivers. Ervin here with a breakdown for the recently buffed Plas 101 Purifier in Helldivers 2. This weapon up until this week was one of the worst additions to the game, being pretty much completely irrelevant compared to every other plasma and explosive primary in the game ever since it was added with the release of the Polar Patriots. But after the patch, I've dug my purifier out of the dumpster and put it to the test so that I could bring you a deep analysis on the stats, features, breakpoints, and target effectiveness, determining just how good it really is. Starting off with the statistics behind the newly buffed Purifier, specifically with the damage, because I know that's what you want to hear about, it has become an absolute monster in this department. Charging the Purifier to capacity via a 1 second charge time deals 200 projectile damage with an additional explosive radius, dealing 300 more damage, both sporting level 3 armor penetration. The inner radius of the explosion is 2.9 meters, with an outer radius of only 3 meters, basically meaning the explosive damage has next to no fall off at all beyond that sliver between 2.9 and 3. So anything caught within the blast is taking that full 300 explosive damage, plus whatever caught the projectile itself for an additional 200, totaling in at 500 damage per shot. This sees the Purifier taking the third place for maximum per shot primary damage potential behind the crossbow and eruptor. But this isn't where the story ends as to why this weapon is flying out of the waste bins for our Helldivers. The minimum charge, which is basically as fast as you can pull the trigger, deals an extremely high 100 ballistic damage or 50 durable damage with a very modest 75 AoE explosive, both still at AP3. This weapon is meant to have a 0.1 second minimum charging time, giving it 600 RPM, which is still far too much, by the way. But Arrowhead has given this an extra 0 behind the scenes, meaning the maximum rate of fire is 6,000 rounds per minute. This can be macroed, and the firing of the weapon can be rebound to the scroll wheel. Not to mention, Helldivers have some very fast fingers. So basically, the Purifier is currently capable of emptying its magazine in 0.15 seconds.
Hey, that's full auto in buildings, bro.
I'm not full auto. It's not full auto.
That's not full auto?
This is. That's full auto.
Damn, bro. Okay.
With a theoretical burst DPS value of over 17,000, more than 15 times any other primary in the game. This reeks of being an oversight, so hopefully when or if this gets hotfixed and locked to a maximum RPM of, say, 250, people won't be surprised or angry about it, as this is just absurd. For the sake of keeping this video relevant in the case where this is patched, I will be speaking on its merits as if you are utilizing it via a controller or simply left-clicking with your meat hand. The caveat to all of this, however, is of course the fleeting ammo supply. Only having 15 rounds per magazine and 6 spares if you use the semi-auto mode, you'll find yourself running out of ammo very quickly, making the supply pack a very good option for it. Otherwise, you want to be utilizing the charging mechanic to save on ammo by hitting breakpoints the minimum charge could not, while also damaging multiple nearby enemies with a single hit. Due to this dynamic, the Purifier actually has both one of the best ammo economies and efficiency, as well as one of the worst depending on how often you do or do not use the charging feature. The reload speed is a bit slow for such a low magazine capacity, though, at 2.5 seconds, and cannot be sped up with a tactical reload by reloading with a round left in the chamber due to it being powered by D-cell batteries. So make sure to empty your magazine before reloading, and try to do so in a safe environment. As far as the handling and ergonomics are concerned, the recoil of a Purifier is pretty acceptable, clocking in at only 20 points, which is only 33% worse than the basic Liberator, which is pretty easy to maintain control of when firing on semi-automatic, and is of course a non-factor when firing on charge mode. The swivel speed is also extremely responsive, similar to how the crossbow feels, making it a very easy to pick and use weapon. Thanks to the charging mechanics scaling the size of your explosion as well, this weapon, unlike other explosive weapons, can be fired at enemies in much closer proximity safely than, say, the crossbow or eruptor could. Which makes it, for this and many other reasons we've discussed overall, the most versatile primary weapon in the entire game. Even if the effective range is a bit tricky due to that muzzle velocity being relatively high, but then slowing down quickly due to high drag. It can take some practice to land shots at far ranges, but once you dial in with the help of the very easily tracked glowing projectiles, it feels fantastic at all ranges. Stagger wise, this also scales from 15 points with the semi automatic firing all the way up to 35 points with the charge mechanic, allowing the Purifier to stagger all but the hardest targets in the game on a charge shot while flinching enemies utilizing the semi automatic fire. This means not only is this weapon incredibly versatile in its use, with some of the highest DPS available in the game, it also can establish a very high degree of control over the battlefield. So, yeah, kind of does it all, doesn't it? Now let's get into the damage breakpoints in this section. We will be analyzing the shots to kill and best methods for dispatching every enemy of democracy that this weapon is rated for, starting with the automatons. Troopers are knocked out by the Purifier when landing a shot anywhere on the body or head region with semi automatic fire. A charge shot is capable of eliminating entire groups of them, landing anywhere within 2.9 meters of the inner explosive radius, making it an extremely comfortable weapon against this enemy in just about all situations. Berserkers stand just about no chance against the Purifier, falling to 2 charged hits anywhere. One semi auto shot to the head, or 150% charge shot to the glowing stomach region. The Purifier functions as a fantastic answer to this enemy across the board in any situation you may need one. Devastators in all forms get dropped by the Purifier in 2 charge shots to the breastplate, 1 charge shot to the stomach, or 1 semi auto headshot. Opening on any Devastator with a charge shot when peeking from cover proves to be your safest and most reliable method of eliminating them, thanks to that incredible stagger keeping them locked down long enough for you to finish the job. While the Purifier can't do much to the Hulk from the front, you can hit it from the back, taking them down with just 7 semi auto shots, or 2 charge shots and a single semi auto shot. Considering how fast you can make those semi auto 6,000 RPM rounds fly, this is actually a very fast, under 1 second TTK when using semi automatic, which is kinda insane, Arrowhead. Now, the tanks and cannon turrets usage is also pretty incredible. While you can't do much to them from the front due to the area of effect for the explosion being typically too small to reach the back sink, when flanking that back heat sink, you'll be able to take these down in just 10 hits to the sink with semi automatic in just about no time at all. If you've managed to catch one of these unaware of your presence, my personal favorite way of dealing with them was to charge my first shot, then let it rip on semi automatic, dump in the magazine to get the most efficient time to kill ratio, even if the fire rate were to be fixed. Rocket Striders are a very dangerous threat for a ton of different primary weapons in Helldivers 2, but they're easily dropped using the semi automatic fire in just 5 shots to the crotch. It's not really worth that much higher TTK charging against them due to the crotch plate having explosive immunity and the charge function being explosive heavy over ballistic in the function. Charging only kills the Rocket Strider in 2 less hits, but takes far longer to perform in comparison to just spamming the trigger. You can also take them down with 2 direct hits to the leg with charge shots, but that can be very difficult when they are on the move. Overall, a solid option for knocking these guys down, although if you are running the Senator, its pristine 2-shot kill to the lug nuts is likely to be preferable. Gunships are a very rewarding enemy to combat with a Purifier dropping from the sky should you hit 2 charge shots landing on the thruster. Due to the high drag on your rounds, however, it can be a bit tricky to land those 2 shots, making it a very skill expressive dance to land those skill shots you definitely feel as though you've earned. If you want to make things a bit easier on yourself due to the non existent fall off on the explosive area of effect, you can land shots around the center mass of the gunship instead, typically destroying a thruster by proxy in just 3 to 4 hits. Now that covers the automaton weapons as far as what this weapon is rated for. I know I didn't mention all of the enemies, and that's because if I didn't mention the enemy, such as the factory strider, it's just not particularly good against them. You can fry those chinling guns, but it's just not practical to take something like that down with this weapon, so I'm kinda just saving your time not going into those. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the terminids now. The Purifier definitely sees much better usability against the automatons than the terminids when not firing on semi-automatic with the supply pack. This is due to the very tiny explosive area of effect on those charged shots. 3 meters just doesn't cut it when the radius on weapons like the crossbow and the eruptor are so much larger, and even the Plasma Punisher, despite it no longer having its arcing charm, feels more practical from a purely area of effect standpoint. Typically, you're going to see a pattern of worse overall breakpoints than the crossbow or eruptor due to how loaded the damage is towards the explosive aspect compared to the others. That being said, let's take a look at the breakpoints for the bugs. Scavengers and hunters get blown to pieces in just one hit on semi-auto, meaning charge shots are only necessary for dispatching very tightly packed swarms. With our very limited ammo supply, you'll probably want to be more often than not trying to collateral these targets with others using that charged mode though. Warriors in similar fashion can lose their heads in as little as one semi-automatic headshot, but more often are better taken down in groups with that charged method we've been talking about all day. Spewers are probably the best feeling targets for the Purifier on this front, taking just two charge shots anywhere on their body, whether that be the head or butt to implode. Given that the stagger keeps them from spitting at you all the while, this is one of the highlights on the terminids for sure. Unfortunately, it's also a highlight that the crossbow shares. Shriekers are swatted from the air in one semi auto shot, but they are very difficult to track due to the slow projectiles, making them a very hard target to take on with the Purifier, unfortunately. Definitely don't recommend using this weapon on any missions with the modifier for Shrieker patrols, unless you have another option to take care of them, such as a flak autocannon. Hive guards take two charge shots anywhere on the body to remove and otherwise take a hefty 6 to 7 semi auto shots to take down, which is not particularly worth it, so best to use the charged mode for these. Now, the chargers in a similar fashion don't go down from butt shots in a reasonable number of hits without charging, but will lose their ass in just 3 charge shots. Something very reasonably accomplished by utilizing stun grenades, although if you're doing that, you might question why you didn't just bring thermites if this was your game plan, allowing you to cut out the middleman. Impalers are easy pickings for the rifle, following to 10 hits on semi-automatic, allowing for some rapid-fire kills, or a conservative ammo maintaining 3 fully charged shots to the face region, making sure to aim high enough on the head area, otherwise you'll clip the tentacles and miss the head hitbox entirely. Pretty good answer to this thing. Now that about sums up the merits, target effectiveness, and strengths of the newly buffed Purifier, so how strong is it? Well, in my opinion, the Plasma Purifier has risen from the ashes and become one of the most powerful bot stompers in the game. The small area of effect is of little concern on the automaton front due to the enemies being more regularly spread apart and in overall smaller numbers than the terminids, making the lack of radius a very mitigated issue. On the terminid front, however, the explosive radius overall takes a back seat to the crossbow's supremacy. Consider the crossbow also can clear bug holes where the purifier cannot, and it's easy to see why the weapon overall takes a back seat to its dominance against the faction. For the automatons, though, the lack of fabricator clear is of little concern with how many options you have for omnidirectional clear. Lacking a primary that can clear them through those vents is far from a deal breaker now. Although the area of effect is far from the most impressive in the game, the absolute ridiculous not automatic fire allows for very quick eliminations for just about every automaton, including rocket striders. Couple that with fantastic control it offers through those charge shot staggers and a great air game against the gunships, and it's no surprise that the Purifier is now a weapon I hold in very high regard when it comes to this faction. For the automatons, I give the Purifier a 10 out of 10, a truly absurdly powerful option. And for the terminids, I give the weapon a use the crossbow out of 10. Thanks for watching till the end, and have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. All right, go for it.
Oh my god.
Stim and go, stim and go. Oh shit, no!
Oh god.
No! We collided midair!